What's up, everyone? It's Alex here at Conscious Personal Growth. Just a quick departure from my usual more polished videos. I recently did a podcast with Conor from the Brain Dump podcast, a fellow Bristol resident, and it was really good to talk to him. And at one point, we got talking about instant gratification in the form of social media or anything that can overstimulate us, and how this leads to creating just this sense of unease when we're just simply being. Like, we always need to get that next fix. But how present moment awareness, which is something that I've talked a lot about on this channel, is the key to dissolving this unease. And present moment awareness, just briefly, a brief explanation, is just being able to be there with your sense perceptions and your thoughts as the awareness, and is essentially what we do in mindfulness and meditation. So here's this clip on instant gratification and how present moment awareness can help with dissolving the unease that comes from too much overstimulation from instant gratification. Hope you enjoy the clip. Peace.
No, it's powerful though. I think it's like going back to that instant gratification where we get very comfortable and we get, the likes, or we get, we have our friends on tap and things. But the minute the familiarity of our current environment is shaken up a bit, it is scary because that change is difficult to accept, like you said.
Well, obviously the social media and anything that is a kind of a stimulant that you can overstimulate yourself with. This is drugs and alcohol, which is a drug. Even some people go crazy on like exercise to the point where they're tearing their bodies apart. Like pornography again. None of these things are bad in the sense, a lot of the time people point towards certain things and say that's bad because they have a certain experience with it in their life, or they maybe live with someone who's having a dysfunctional relationship to any one of these things, and then it's that thing that becomes the bad thing. Drink is really bad, or pornography is really bad, or whatever. Now there are some people that just have to, it's useful for them to stay away from certain things, because they've got a very addictive personality, and it's just a good strategy to be like, okay, I'm going to just completely cut that one out, because whenever I go anywhere near it, things don't end up pretty. But it's even more powerful to, like I say, get to the root of it, because the problem is when you're stepping out of those, when you're stepping out of that kind of lifestyle of the instant gratification, your dopamine system is can be very out of whack, in the sense that when you continuously spike dopamine with progressively stronger stimulation, your brain actually down regulates the dopamine receptors, and so you don't get as much of that good pleasurable feeling. And obviously this is how people get themselves in trouble with this kind of stuff, is because the dopamine receptors are getting downgraded, and so of course downregulated, so of course we need more of that thing to then stimulate us again, and then we need more, and we need more, whether that's more food or more novel pornography or more exercise like endorphins or more alcohol, whatever it is. And the further along you are down that path, the more, when you step out of that space, there's going to be this kind of feeling of unease almost, because your dopamine's low and your cortisol's going up, because your body is like giving you some stress hormone, and to kind of, as a defense mechanism, to start looking for these kind of stimulating things again. And so that's when it becomes more of a challenge to kind of stay in that present space, because in that present space there exists within us a lot this kind of unease, and it will dissolve itself. But first of all, it needs our awareness and attention. It needs us to be able to be in that space without refeeding it with all this kind of, whether it be excessive thinking or anything in excess. A lot of people quake in their boots at even the thought of meditating because they have this instinctual sense that just them as they are is not a comfortable place. And that's the sad reality of where we've got to. That people think, God, I can't even meditate because, I'm going to be fidgety, and oh God, then the mind's I'm going to be worrying and everything's going to feel like intense. And so, the power is in being able to be the container for that kind of present moment awareness, and just be there with your own feelings and emotions to a certain degree, and your own thoughts, but just as an observer holding the space for them. And that will eventually dissolve that kind of and dissipate that energy and leave you feeling peaceful and happy, because there is inherent peace and happiness in just being. This is what these teachings are saying, that your true essential nature beyond all of these concepts is a peaceful, essentially a peaceful one, because it's not coloured by all of these stories and narratives and this sense of self that gives us all this suffering. Yes, sometimes in that space, if you're withdrawing, if you're having alcohol withdrawal or something, and your biology's all messed up, and you go into that space, obviously you're entering a present space that it's got some level of discomfort with it. But staying in that space will eventually bring you back to a kind of homeostasis and a peace. So obviously, if you have a high level addiction, then some kind of medical or mental health intervention, possibly like CBT, may well be very helpful and applicable to you. But what I'm talking about is that general unease that comes with this abundance of overstimulation that we can provide ourselves, this instant gratification through the form of social media, which is right on your phone, in your pocket, tasty snacks full of saturated fat, sugar and cholesterol that are just down the road at the shop, or, pornography, which is one click away if you've got it bookmarked, and just a few clicks away is 4K, high speed, infinite novelty. Do you see what I mean? So too much stimulation with any of these things can lead to that unease when we're just being and not looking for that next fix. But there's so much power in being able just to be with your own thoughts and feelings and sense perceptions. It may not be incredibly comfortable at first, but staying in that space, and it may take a while for some people, but staying in that space eventually will dissolve those feelings of unease and lead you to a more peaceful state where you're able just to be and accept what is as it is. And then your deeper mind, your deeper intuition is going to start to surface. These instant gratifications are great rewards sometimes, but they're pulling us away often from our higher purpose or our calling or our life's work, where we can really go in on our passion and follow our joy and have a positive impact on the world. But those kinds of dispositions to do these things more often will start to surface when you can just be in that present moment awareness. That's when the intuition starts piercing through to the surface, and you can start to follow your joy and passion, create more of what you want in your life, and have a positive impact on the world. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Click like if you liked it, and of course don't forget to subscribe for more videos sharing with you strategies for conscious personal growth. Peace.